Alright, welcome. Just check in, saw that I am at 160%. Making good progress here. I think I'm gonna head up, check out some of those areas that I haven't gone yet. Ah! We're off to a good start. I've got $1. Oops. Let's see. Is this... Okay, I've been there. Ah. So I was trying to think of what wonderful things to chat about. So I uploaded the Metal Gear Solid 2 video yesterday, and boy, that was a fun video. That one made me laugh, but wow, I should just give up trying to tell people that I'm actually good at that game. Sad part is, like, what the heck? Oh yeah, Riders. Does the thing have like a sleeping cap on? Oh, that's amazing. Oh. Anyways. We good at words. Funny thing is, I was thinking about that at work today. Jeez, I hate these things. Back when I first started watching people play video games on, holy crap. Jeez, that got me a lot. Anyways, my introduction was Game Informer's Replay. And I believe it would have been... good. I believe it would have been around 2010. I don't remember exactly. I didn't really start watching it right away. Like, at the time, I was always, like, I loved reviews, always checking out reviews for games and movies. I haven't used reviews to make, like, purchasing decisions as far as, like, entertainment things in a long time. Partially just because, well, I have my own opinions, so I don't really care what other people have to say. And there's a lot of things. Well, a good example would be like that Double Dragon 4. I love that game. Double Dragon 2 is one of my all-time favorite games. 4 basically plays a lot like 2, but with just some improvements. And I think it's fantastic. Every review I see is kind of ranging from like okay to bad. Like, oh, it's stuck in the past. It doesn't learn any of the... Ah! Jeez! Ah! Oh my word, I'm gonna die. Holy crap. Run away! Anyways, just moving on. Basically, I just learned a while back that there are very few reviewers out there whose opinions line up well with mine, and because of my love of bad things as well as good things, I just don't really care to rely on someone else's opinion for my entertainment. But at the time, 2010 or whatever, okay, we're just flying away. Screw you all. I was always on Game Informer. I loved seeing the previews for the upcoming games. I loved reading the reviews. And I would see the things for a replay, but I kind of ignored them So in the magazine, they had a like a retro review, just like a page that had like 3 or 4 reviews on it. Oh. Okay. I don't know if you're still dangerous to me. You're not really attacking me. Are you just happy that I freed you? Okay, cool. Weird. Sorry, I genuinely wasn't expecting that. What the? Holy crap. Ah! My word, just die. Alright. So I saw the things for replay. I assumed it was just a like a retro review like they had in the magazine. And I wasn't really interested in checking them out. At the time I wasn't very interested in retro games. It was like another year or 2 before that love kind of came back. Oops, I don't like my ox. But the other problem was Game Informer, especially at the time, their video player was kind of notoriously bad. So it's like it's just some old game that I've either played or skipped. Not something I'm interested in purchasing now, so I'm just gonna, who cares about this review? Wow, you can jump high. Whew. Stay down. You too. Holy. And, but then one day, they had, Friday the 13th for NES. I'd never played it before, because back when I was playing NES all the time, I wasn't really interested in Friday the 13th. But now, it's just water up there. I can't get into the water yet, so I'm gonna head back this way. I'm gonna go down this way. Yeah, when that game first came out, I wasn't really interested in Friday the 13th at all. I was a little kid. But then, like in high school, I watched the first movie with my dad, and then later after high school, ended up watching the rest of them that were released at that time, and just kind of fell in love with the series and slashers in general. And all right, I gotta figure out where I want to go. Okay, let's go that way. Sorry. All right, so yeah, fell in love with slashers, and it was after that that I always thought, man, it would have been interesting to check out that Friday the 13th game, see what that actually was like. So I saw the replay. I thought, oh, okay, they're doing a review of it. I can finally see what that game's like. And then I watch it and find out that it's actually just a show of them playing games and chatting about their memories and whatnot, and cracking jokes about how bad the game was. And I just instantly fell in love with it. But I still had poor internet and their video player was garbage. So at first I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to go back and like, you know, watch the videos based on series that I have fond memories of. And then it was videos of games that I wish I had played but never had the chance. And then eventually, especially as I got a little more consistent internet, I just went through and watched all of them. There was a while where I was watching through all the replay episodes like at least once a year. But it was I want to say it was their playthrough of Blue Stinger, because I had a Dreamcast. I never had any games really for it, so I ended up getting rid of it. And then they started doing their playthrough of Blue Stinger, and that kind of made me wish I still had that console, and kind of reinvigorated my love of older games. So although I'm not nearly the fan of Game Informer that I used to be, I do at least have to thank him for that. And who knows if I would have ever really gotten back into retro gaming. I'm sure I would have eventually. But, I am just rambling. It's funny looking back, because I used to kind of scoff at them. At the time that I first started watching Replay, yeah, I would have been mid-20s. And, the people, the cast members for Replay basically have been like my age and older. So a lot of them had not identical, but I'm sure similar experiences and like getting into gaming. And we all came from the era of, you know, split screen couch co-op. And so I was there like, oh man, I always play split screen. Like I'd always just like sit there chatting with the person beside me. It was kind of a strategy thing because like my brother, for example, he couldn't listen to me talk and play at the same time. So I just sit there rambling and he would suddenly start doing worse. Okay. Whew. I'm just skipping a lot of combat. So I'm just sitting there scoffing like, oh, come on. What do you mean you can't? The cat is running frantically. I think I'm gonna go down. It's like, what do you mean you can't talk and play at the same time? It's easy. Break everything. I mainly just like the effect. I'm gonna try this. I'm just curious. Alright, moving on. So getting into let's see. Haha. You know, getting into making these videos on YouTube, which I definitely did that because I enjoyed Replay so much. I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. I want to do that. And I've proven time and time again that the more I try to focus on what I'm talking about, the worse I play. There's no two ways around that. And the sad part is, for like Metal Gear Solid, I'd like to think I'm good at that game. I've already been in here. Let's go back to the middle, open up a little more of that. Like, there was a time when I was excellent at that game. You know, when I was in high school, shortly after the game first came out, it was like one of the few games I constantly went back to. There are a few of them, like Grand Theft Auto, especially Vice City and San Andreas. I frequently went back to those games. And Hitman. I love playing Hitman. But I'd spent a lot of time playing Metal Gear Solid 2. And, you know, I mentioned in one of the videos, to unlock the stealth camo and infinite ammo, it has to do with finding enough of the dog tags. And so you have to hold up all the enemies at gunpoint to get the dog tags. Don't hurt me. And so I just play the tanker level over and over again, trying to find all the dog tags. And I did eventually get all the dog tags in a tanker level. That part's decently easy. the big shell. I think I came close, but I needed like just a couple more dog tags to find them all. And you're getting to the point where you're just going through the entire game trying to find the last couple soldiers that you haven't gotten dog tags for. And so I don't think I ever did. I don't think I ever did get them. Jeez. Come on. Trying to jump again. Ugh. Good job. Have I gone up here? I have. I should go save, because it's not that far away. And I need the health. Yeah, so continuing on. When it comes to like difficulty levels in games, kind of depends on the game and like the experience I want from the game for what I choose. Most games I just play on normal. There's certain games where I really don't care about the game or the challenge. I just want to feel like some overpowered brute going through and destroying everything. So there are certain games where I'll purposely play it on like a low difficulty, just because I just want to go around and cause chaos. I don't really care about the experience beyond that. And then there are some games where I start getting good at them and play around with a higher difficulty to just see if I can pull it off. And actually, at one point, Metal Gear Solid 2 was one of those games. And I was to the point where, like, stealth-wise, I could, like, in the tanker level, I just want to make sure I had all that. I could do, like, the tanker stealth-wise, the highest difficulty in that game. If you get seen once, you automatically fail. Obviously, that doesn't count, like, boss battles. Stuff like mandatory where you have to be seen. But by normal enemies, if they spot you, you lose. And it was slow, but I could do it. Okay, I didn't remember where I was going for a moment there. The problem was the boss battles. They made the game hard by giving you hardly any health. And so I was good, but I wasn't perfect, and basically like 2 shots and you're dead. So I had a hard time getting by bosses. Whoops. Yay. Yay. But now, fast forward however many years, when I haven't played that game nearly as religiously as I used to, and now you have me running into guards, getting spotted every 2 seconds, and falling through holes, going, I swear I'm good at this, guys! Oh well, I'm having fun, so who cares? Man, I didn't know a bat could pick up an iron ball. Okay, I think I'm gonna... It's only been about 20 minutes. I think I'm gonna head towards the library. Come on. Aha. Flame Star. I'm I'm kind of curious what other games I have pretty much lost my abilities at. I know the old Mario games. I'm really far out of practice on those. I played the Mario one for the shaving head challenge thing that I attempted to start last year. Died on the very first enemy. Good times. But I used to be pretty good at Mario 3. Never did beat Mario 3. I want to do a playthrough of that so I can finally beat it. Super Mario World, that's another one where I never beat it. But I feel like at one point I was actually getting pretty good at it. Driver, there's one I want to do. I wish Driver was talked about more. It seems like it's only ever brought up nowadays to talk about how hard the tutorial level was. And yeah, sure it was hard, but it wasn't impossible. Highline had... Oh, crap, I forgot about those things. I always forget about those things. Ugh. Schmo? Why Schmo? But yeah, I used to always play the Driver game. I loved it. What the heck is... okay. Gauntlet, cool. Yeah. I know I've talked about it before, but Driver was kind of like a huge step forward in a style of game that I completely forgot about the Wizard of Oz theme. This game is great. Yeah, I've talked about it before. Even though it's not a good game, when I was a kid, I loved the Dick Tracy game, and I did a video on that a few years back. But it was probably my first open world experience. It was a small city, but you could drive around freely and enter any of the buildings. It basically was set up so like I forget exactly, but like north and south roads were like letters, and west and east roads were numbers or something like that. So there'd be buildings. It'd be like, oh, go to the building at like 5th and C. And you drive through, go to the building you need, jump out of your car, run inside. And you didn't have to, you could just drive around, go to the buildings anytime you wanted. Like you had to go to them in a specific order to gather evidence to solve the case. But you could just kind of wander around at your own leisure and just check out everything. And there's definitely a lot of problems with that game. It's not great, but it was ambitious, and it made me want like open world driving games. There were definitely games that did similar things that I didn't play until years later. Like Roger Rabbit had a driving section. There was a Terminator 2 on, I think, Super Nintendo that had like the motorcycle scenes. But the next time I felt like I really got something like that experience. My controller controller's vibrating. I don't know why. Was actually a demo disc for a computer. It had Grand Theft Auto on it, Grand Theft Auto 2, I think. And that really got me excited because it was like a top-down view. But it, like the old Dick Tracy game, but it was like a lot bigger, a lot more detailed. You could do a lot more. So it felt like it's like a true evolution of the game that I had loved as a kid. But you know, this is the era of PlayStation now, so like 3D, everything's got to be 3D. And so when Driver came out, oh man, that game got me so excited. And that game was like a straight up love letter to like 70s movies. Like I remember the people in the magazines being super psyched about it. You know, they're talking about how you can, the cars were super loose. You'd slide around corners. Your hubcaps could come off and roll down the street. Then, like there was a dedicated burnout button because you gotta burn out in a police chase. And then there were like other cool things. Like having the director mode where you could take a clip of gameplay and start editing it, and actually it was pretty detailed. Like you could move the camera around, so it was either attached to your vehicle or following your vehicle. You could do the same thing for like other vehicles, where you could have the camera stationary and what the cold going through that guy's mouth? That's disturbing. But you could also have like the camera sitting still and as your vehicle drove by, or have it turn and watch your vehicle as it drove by. And you know, you spend a couple hours goofing around with camera angles and everything. You could have some pretty dynamic little cutscenes there. It was a lot of fun to play with. Oh, a neutron bomb. Just what I always wanted to find in a library. Let's see if that's any better. Do I have, oh, I need to... Wow, that's a big difference now. I always forget to change back to my walk armor. Okay, yeah, nope. Flamestar. Yeah, just continue talking about Driver. Why not? I'm sure I'll go through all this again when I eventually do either a playthrough or at least a video. Yeah, let's go back to the main library. I love it. So when Driver 2 came out, like the big problem with Driver 1, I loved it. It was a ton of fun to play. But you were stuck in your vehicle. Like you couldn't get out and run around like you could in Grand Theft Auto or Dick Tracy. And so it was almost there, but it wasn't quite. But then Driver 2 comes out, and now you can get out of your vehicle, and I was super excited for that. And it ended up not being that great of a feature. In Driver 2, I'd say it's bigger, not better. Like, it's a bigger game. They added new features and everything to it. But overall, I don't think it's as good as the first game. Some of the additions are pretty cool. It's just, it definitely lacks polish. Being able to get out of a car. Okay. Thanks for not hitting me. It's used for finding certain secrets. How, come on. Money. Anyways, there's certain secrets that you can only find in like buildings or something. And it's like big buildings, like a stadium or something. Like you're not going to like office buildings, as far as I remember. Yeah, I've been through there. The other thing is you can steal vehicles, and actually this is where one of the kind of cool ideas comes from. Because you had separate wanted levels, or felony, I think it was called in that game. You had one for your vehicle, but not for your guy. If the police saw you get out of a vehicle that had a wanted level, then your guy automatically had the same wanted level. Any vehicle he got into would automatically have that wanted level. But if they didn't see you and you successfully stole a new vehicle, then your wanted level goes away. So it kind of gave some cool options. Like if you were getting a lot of damage on your car, but you could just hold out and get away from the cops, then you could lose your wanted level by stealing a new vehicle. Man, we're going to resist a whole bunch. I haven't used a single resist thing. And now everyone I killed is back. So the changes to the wanted system were kind of cool. And I liked being able to get out of the vehicle, but you couldn't actually do anything. Like you couldn't... let's go back this way. You couldn't attack anyone. There's very little to actually interact with. It was mostly just wander around, steal the next vehicle. I forgot to look this up, so I can't remember if this is for sure accurate. But I want to say like a big deal in that game was it had curved roads. Like I swear I remember seeing previews where they're showing pictures of like these curved roads, just talking about how how good technology is getting. Oh my, we've come a long way. Another cool thing that it attempted, but it like technical limitations, it wasn't very good. Was a 2-player mode, but good job. The technical limitations, it was just like a tiny section of the map. It wasn't the entire map. And in a way that makes sense when you think of like shortcuts they do to be able to handle those huge maps. The computer basically only cares about like what you would be seeing right where you are. I need to get over and save. And I need to book if I ever come back into the library. Yay, got uncursed. Anyways, the computer basically only cares about what you are looking at. And so you could definitely see that. You can still see that a little bit in later games, but you could definitely see that with the early driver games, where you could change the camera to look behind you, and then look back in front of you, look behind you again, and like each time you look behind you, sometimes it'd be different vehicles back there. Just because, like, the moment you're not looking at it, the computer's just like, well, I don't care about that anymore. Like, it basically cared about police officers and mission critical stuff. Other shortcuts included things like making it so the vehicles in the area were generally of the same sort. Um, that way they only had to load the assets for a couple vehicles instead of a whole bunch of different ones to have although more realistic, a wide variety, much more memory intensive. And that you actually definitely saw in like the early Grand Theft Auto games, like 3 and Vice City. You're always trying to hold out for like the sports car. Never see a sports car, just like 15 taxis and 10 station wagons. Like, fine, I'll steal a taxi. And as soon as you steal a taxi, oh look, now there's a sports car. But basically, to be able to like, the computer would have had to take consideration of all those different things, the vehicles around you, what you're looking at, everything, and now do it for 2 different people. So it did basically a tiny little map to be able to handle all that extra memory. But it also came at a cost. That game had horrible performance, slowdowns. The city, like, buildings were popping in like not even a block away from you. Had cars literally appear in the road in front of me. I liked the game, but it was a mess. But I gotta end this. I hope at least some of the rambling was interesting. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, my dear friends. Until next time.